Hello, welcome everybody. This is the Photo Memoirs. If you don't already know who I am, my name is Don and I'm a photographer based in Seoul, South Korea. I specialize or I enjoy doing a high contrast black and white image, and I focus on just documenting life as I see it here in Seoul, especially the beauty of the Korean people and the culture and just the places around the city, and I enjoy doing that very much. But I've done this for about 8 years, and so what I wanted to do now is to start to share what I've learned through these 8 years of doing this street slash documentary style photography, and I want to help learners to be able to do the same thing, to capture the world around them in a very unique and special way that can go forward and they can get into photography and they can improve. So that's what I want to do through these videos on my YouTube channel. I want to help you to learn and improve. So I want to share my tips with you, and it's very simple. It's very easy to participate. You can get in touch with me through Facebook or my website or through email, and you can share with me and submit your images and your stories about your photography, and I can then review them. And I'm offering this without a fee, so you can freely join in. If you're out taking photographs, you want to improve, you want to get some tips on your work, just to simply join in, participate, and I'll include your submissions in my future videos. So today we have two submissions from two photographers based in the Philippines. Jayr Hilado, who uh, this is his second time already submitting photographs, so I'm happy to have you back. And the second submission is from John Chester Gutierrez, and he's also from the Philippines. So I'm looking forward to kind of going through these photographs and seeing kind of what we can learn. Okay, so we have John's photographs here. He sent me a message along with the photographs. He just told me that these are some of the photographs that he took after his workday, and he's photographing these with the Fujifilm XT200 with a 55 millimeter prime lens. Okay, so thank you for that. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so yeah, and the Fuji cameras, right? They're really handy. They're just small, compact, very nice to use. What I've heard about them, and handling is just great. And they just come out with this very nice color palette, which is just amazing. So there's very strong points. If you're looking to buy a camera, consider using the Fuji film cameras. They're really good. So just taking a look at the photograph, okay, we can see he's kind of just in the building, and he's kind of just playing around and trying to capture the nice atmosphere. I think it's really good, right? We have the soft light coming through the window. It looks good. It looks really appealing, the image. The of course, the light source is very overexposed. And I think in this case, that's okay. And I think we can expect when we have these bright lights coming through. And in fact, if he were to expose this so that he wouldn't have these really blown out, I'm sure that he would lose other areas of the photograph just to the blacks. Even as it is, some of these black parts here on the stairs and on this side, as you can see in the blue, it's already lost some detail. So when you have very dark and then very bright, you kind of have to balance somewhere between when you're trying to expose. And I think he did that very well. So okay, so he's just practicing, right? This looks like just a practice image. So okay, he's taking an image just of the atmosphere of this building, which is great. Okay. All right. Oh, this is really cool. Okay, so it seems to me maybe the image seems a little bit sloped. I'm not sure if it's only me here. Maybe it's only I'm seeing it a little bit strangely, or maybe it's from the angle of the camera. It seems a little bit off center, a little bit. Yeah, so maybe just a tad slanted like this, just a little bit, just a little bit. And I think it's not too much, but it seems like it's a little bit slanted, which could be just corrected a little bit. Or if you want to get really nitpicky and make sure everything's on the up and up, make sure like when it comes to horizons and when it comes to buildings and stuff, sometimes that little bit of a slope can be a bit distracting. If people really invest the time to look and take a deeper dive into the photograph and really examine it, they'll kind of notice that. And in fact, if the slope is very bad, they'll notice it immediately. In this case, it's not that noticeable, I think, but no, I just have a little bit of it. It's a little bit slanted, which is still, it's not a huge deal. Okay, so here, okay, we have the blacks here, which is fine. The blacks are, just completely gone here. No worries. This part of the image doesn't really serve much of a purpose, right? It's just kind of helping to frame this building in the background. So it looks like, I don't know what this is. It's a factory or something like that, right? So you got the steam coming up. It looks really nice, right? I love the tones of these brick wall and the shed top here and the tree. But the thing is, I think it would have been nicer to maybe bring down these highlights more, because I think being able to capture more of this smoke, this steam that's coming out of this building, I think that could have been much better. And I'm not sure, about your exact settings. I don't see them here because your metadata is gone. But, you could have exposed your image in a way to, have the sky, less bright, right? Less exposed. And then if you really wanted to, you could still bring up the exposure of the darks here, right? The shadows and the blacks, you can pull it up so it's, not as dark, right? So this is the how you had the image from the beginning, and as you can see, the sky is already so bright that it's hard to kind of distinguish. We can see the steam, at the top, we can see the steam here, but if we had a little bit more contrast there, I think it just would have been a little bit nicer, and we could have achieved that just with having the sky less exposed. So if you had your exposure a little bit less here, it could have helped you when you edited the photograph later, I think. Of course, I'm not really sure. Maybe in this situation, maybe I took the photograph similarly and then I tried to fix it, or I tried to expose the sky a little bit better so that I can make the adjustments afterwards to the rest of the frame. Okay, yeah, looks good. Okay, so I see, yeah, you're just out practicing, yeah, you finish work, you're tired, but I'm glad that you're going out and you're practicing, with that, whatever time that is that you have, right? An extra 30 minutes or an hour photo walk on your way home. Beautiful, excellent work. Okay, and you're having some fun practicing with, focusing. All right, so you focus on this line here. You found it somewhere. Okay, let's focus on that, and then let's have that. I believe that's the same building, right? Yeah. But we see the line here in this frame as well. But in this case, you're focused here, and then you have that nice uh, blurry background, which is cool. I think, that looks cool. Looks nice. Kind of a washing machine. Okay. Okay, so you're taking some also photographs just, at home or whatever, wherever this building is. Okay, good. Yeah. Again, very nice atmosphere. Darks are very dark. The lights, the highlights are very bright, right? We lost detail, but I think you're aiming for the atmosphere, and I think you did it very well. I think this is really nice. And these images are really, yeah, I love the tones and the colors of your images. I think that is spot on. The tones and the color of your images, and I think it's kind of a really bonus working with the Fujifilm cameras. Excellent, excellent work. Okay. All right, so let's continue on here. We're going to look at Jayr Hilado's photographs. And he also sent me a message here. I'll just see. And so he said, I am motivated to practice even more in photography. And that is excellent. I'm so happy to hear that. And so I hope what I've shared with you, I'm very, very happy and glad to hear that that's been motivating for you to get out there and practice more. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I'm very, very happy to hear that. So he says, these are my latest shots. And okay, no worries. He says, I can't afford a camera yet. No problem. Keep going. You're doing really, really well. Even with your phone, which is just great, great. Excellent, excellent. I included my last month's shots, 4 of them, and I just want to know what adjustments I can make. Okay, so thank you for that. I'm very happy to hear that you've been motivated to do more photography. All right, so it looks like you have this first photograph. It looks like your living room. You got a couple dolls here, maybe your daughter's dolls or something. So very, very cool, very nice. I love the atmosphere. I like it. Can we get kind of a really nice peek into your world, which is really nice. It's really nice. Okay. This is your home, your living room. You know, and it's really really interesting to see how people are living in their own environment, and I'm happy that you're sharing that with us. And even for ourselves, if we're even just in our home, if we're doing photography, we can set the time aside to just kind of document our own house and our own environment, our families, our houses, or around our houses in our neighborhood. As we photograph that, and then years down the road, we look back on that, and then we can just we can be like, okay, that's my old house. That's how I was living. Now, I think that's something that's going to be really special. And then you'll find like your tastes also change, right? You change your furniture, your children grew up, your family, has new things going on. Maybe you change your house, or even you just change the interior design of your house, which is going to happen time to time. And just looking back at the photographs, and then okay, wow, like this is how it was. This is how we were. This is how we lived. It's kind of really cool. It'll be really neat to kind of look back and see that. And even for your family, your children, they grew up and they're going to see, oh, when I was 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years old, this was our house. When I was just a little baby. This is my dad's photos, which would be something so precious and so nice, right? Okay, yeah. And again, we're looking just for the atmosphere. He's got a nice atmosphere, nice setting. Just got the teddy bear there on the ground. The teddy bear is a little bit too dark, I think. I just, you got the beautiful light coming in, but I think the teddy bear on the ground is just a little bit dark. Right? If we look at this image, what's going to happen is where our eyes are going to come to this bright area, and then we see the kind of light is coming down on an angle, and we're drawn to this other window, and that's kind of where our eyes go. So, uh, honestly, if somebody were to look at this photograph, sometimes they might not even notice that there's a teddy bear here, unless they really take a good look, because the teddy bear is really kind of dark. It's in shadow. It's not really standing out at all. So if you're putting the teddy bear to contribute to the image, just know that maybe it's a little bit too dark. Maybe there's something that you can do. You can adjust your settings so that you can have it a little bit brighter, or maybe, if you're using Lightroom on your phone or something, you can make some adjustments. You can increase the exposure to this bottom part, or you can increase the exposure for the blacks and the shadows, and then make it pop a little bit more so we can see what's going on down here. Right, your photograph is kind of tilted a little bit, right? So I think that can be a little bit distracting, right? If we can just frame it up again, that's something that can be easily adjusted as well, in just like that. There's an auto transform in Lightroom. We immediately straighten it up, which I think looks much better, much more pleasing, I think. Okay, so there's the way you had it before, and then auto setting there, auto transform. I think it works just a little bit nicer. It looks a little bit nicer to the eye. Okay. Here it's going to be difficult. You're shooting at nighttime, right? So it's really hard to see. Okay. Oh, I think this is what you were telling me about last time. Okay. It's just really difficult to see kind of what's going on, and the brights are really bright, but the darks are really, really dark. Very high contrast, but it will take a lot of work to really examine and really figure out like what it is that you photographed, right? So we can see here the shed here, we can see the plants, right? We can just see kind of the shadow in the atmosphere kind of, but we really have to focus in there to figure out what it is and what's going on. And if people have to really think about it that much, really like invest that amount of time to figure out what's going on, sometimes they're more likely to just kind of move on, pass, right? So just something to keep in mind. Again, very beautiful. I love this. All right, so here we have the kitchen here. Yeah, same, beautiful. You're continuing to document your home, and you're sharing that with us. Excellent, nice. Let's see if transform what that does for us. Okay, again, it looks a little bit sideways, but we can straighten it up and make it just a little bit more pleasing. Again, without, and then with the auto adjustment. That's just with auto adjustment, right? You can square things up, how your eye sees them with a manual transformation setting, but even with auto, it's pretty good just to make that really fast, really quick adjustment. And then it usually does a pretty good job. If you're using a program like Lightroom, it usually does a really good job. Okay, it looks like kind of like a very similar, like the last photo that you have here. Maybe the same place, but similar. This one we can tell a little bit better what it is, right? We see the apartments in the background, the big buildings in the background, all lit up during the nighttime. Again, it's going to be difficult with your phone to take photographs during the nighttime and really highlight it in a way that's going to share a nice story with us. That's kind of a difficult thing about phone photography. They're not going to be your best friend when it comes to night photography, unfortunately. But still, don't let it dissuade you. Do your best with what you have, even at the nighttime. If that's the time that you have to do photos, do it. I still try, still do your best with it. Okay. Okay, so you did say that you have 4 photographs that you had from last month that you just wanted to take and get kind of some suggestions to get better. So that's good. Yeah, you got the sandals here. I think you're focused on the man here, or I think it's a man. You focus on the person back here, but you got the sandals as well here. So, but again, we're looking like this to kind of get a straight view. So I think, although I know that you're trying to incorporate the sandals here, I think it's usually best to have the horizon more flat, right? It generally is not going to help you a lot if the horizon is, uneven, if it's sloped. I think that can really hurt an image. So what we have here, right, if we adjusted it, right, we have more clear. You can still photograph the sandals and the man and the beach and the water, right? Uh, but try to keep that horizon more even, right? And if you're focusing too much on the sandals, if you're focusing too much on the person, if you're focusing too much on other things, sometimes we might forget to watch that horizon. We want that horizon as flat as possible. So we want to keep an eye on those details when we're photographing. So if I adjust the photograph like this, right? Of course, if we constrain it, it becomes like that, which doesn't help us much, right? So if you wanted to have these sandals in the frame and you wanted to capture the person in the frame, that means you had to be more to the left, and then you had to shoot more like this way, right? And then you still could have, right, if you had the sand up until here, and then the sand up until here, and then sand up here, then you still would have got that nice frame. And you would have been able to still incorporate all parts that you photographed in the original picture. Okay, let's move on. Okay, yeah, okay, just nice atmosphere, feel, and the sky and the trees above. Bigger tree over here on the side. Yeah, I think you just maybe were drawn to the clouds and the sky and just the atmosphere, which is nice. That's good. Here still, again, I don't know if it's just me today, but I feel like there is a slope as well in the horizon. All right, so okay, see the difference? There's this, and then there's this. This it looks like a little bit of a slope on the horizon. We can fix it up just like that. Okay. Something we really have to pay special attention to. Make sure our horizons are nice and straight. Okay, good. This tree is awesome. I love this tree. Beautiful tree, beautiful tree. And I think you just caught, kind of a nice atmosphere. I think you did really nicely. I mentioned in some of my other videos that something that you want to try to avoid is taking photographs from behind a person or from the side. But again, that applies to if your main purpose of taking the photograph is to photograph the person as your subject. And in this case, I think this photograph is meant to be more about the environment, right? The setting more than the person in the photograph. So in this case, I don't think it matters too much if he's photographed from behind, because we're interested in this tree and just the environment, the setting, which is nice. It's a good job. Okay. And then just some kind of bushes with some flowers. So nothing spectacular, nothing spectacular. And I remember when I first started out, I went outside and I first started practicing with flash. And I was at nighttime and I practiced with flash, and then I I found a similar type of flowers, kind of an orange flower, and then I broke out my camera and I took a picture with the flash, and wow, this is amazing. I took this photograph of the flower, and then I think at that time I put it up for stock photography. This is when I was very starting out. I was very new to everything photography. I was just learning, but I just started practicing with the flash, and I put some photographs on stock photography websites, which pretty much you can put your photographs there, and then different companies around the world they can license the photograph. They can use the photograph in their advertising or in the newspaper or magazine or nowadays online or something like that. So they pay some money to license the photograph, and then you get a small percentage of the earnings from the license agreement through the company that you work with. And yeah, I remember taking the photograph and then trying to upload it to the stock, and it immediately got rejected. It's like, okay, yeah, there's nothing special about this. There's, you know, um, the subject is not particularly interesting, pretty much. There's no special technique that went into taking the photograph, and just pretty much anybody could have taken the same thing, and it was uh, not going to really sell as stock photography. So I said, okay, well, I thought I did good. At the time, I thought, okay, this is good. But if I looked at that photograph now, I'd be like, yeah. So I'm kind of reminded of that a little bit. So I know that you're just out practicing, which is awesome. Just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep practicing. Um, One thing that I can tell about this photograph is it looks like a lot of the flowers are not actually in focus, right? We have the flower in the background, looks focused, 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 but this one is not focused. And some of these flowers that are towards me are closer to you are not in focus, which is, I think, a little bit of a problem, right? I think it should be vice versa. I think these flowers that are closer, they need to be in better focus, and then the flowers that are in the back can be a little bit out of focus. And I think that is more acceptable than, you know, especially when the flowers are kind of so close together, for them to be out of focus at the front is a little bit strange. So I think that's something that you can kind of work with if you're using a phone to photograph, right? You want to make sure you're selecting maybe this flower in the front to focus and then take the photograph. Okay, so I think that's good for today. So JR and John, thank you so much for submitting your images today. It was a pleasure to review them, and thank you so much for spending the time to do your photography and to send them to me. And I hope that the advice and the tips that I gave you was really beneficial, and I hope it was beneficial for everybody else that is tuning in as well. So be sure that if you're doing some photography this week, you can submit your new photographs to me, to get in touch with me on Facebook or through email. You can submit your photographs, and I will include them in these review videos throughout this week. So please get in touch, and I hope you're doing some good photography. Get out there, keep practicing, keep improving, keep growing, keep learning, and I hope that you'll also come back and you will be able to get even more good advice and even more benefit from these videos. So I look forward to spending more time with your photographs and kind of checking into them later in the week. I hope you come by, and if you haven't already, you can subscribe to the channel, and that can also be helpful for me and also let you know when I have new videos out. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care.